My name's Marka Danielle, and I'm 65 years old, and I love face yoga. I am also a full-time wheelchair user. This is my little baby dog. And I use a wheelchair because I have a cervical spinal cord injury 10 years ago that put me in a wheelchair. And one of the things about face yoga that really drew me to it was the idea of being able to work the muscles of your face and not necessarily all of the muscles of the body, doing crazy yoga poses that some people just can't accomplish. I saw an ad for the boot camp, and I was just having so much fun with the YouTube videos that I decided to do the 6-week boot camp. And in week 3, I remember waking up one morning and going into the bathroom and going, I don't look so tired this morning. And I had seen some ads for the TCC class, and I went, I want to do this. Then I went and talked to some friends of mine who were therapists, physical therapists, counselor, psychotherapist, and occupational therapist. And even a friend of mine who is a full-time wheelchair user has no movement at all from the shoulders down. He's literally like Christopher Reeves was. And I use that so people have an idea. And I asked him, I said, what if you could do yoga without moving your body, since you can't move your body? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, what if you could use the muscles of your face to get the same results in your body? And he's like, that's crazy. I love to do it. Let's do it. So that's when I decided to sign up and take the class. I think community, my study group, the WOW girls, really kind of brought that all home. We, not only the 4 of us, but the whole TCC community were so communicative and so excited to do what we were doing and to learn from Fumiko. It made me feel that there was a lot more positive in the world, because, you know, let's face it, doing the TCC class during the pandemic, we were at a time that was very, I'm going to just say, ugly in our world, and people were scared and people were angry, and the whole face yoga method community made me have hope that there was going to be a better world coming out of this pandemic, that there were still things to do, that there's still ways to reach people when you think you can't. Like you mentioned about being able to teach over Zoom. I mean, most of us would never have had any interaction with Fumiko if it weren't for the Zoom classes. And there was never anything negative. It was always so positive and supportive and loving. Also, what I got was that I actually wanted to teach face yoga method, because when I went into it, I didn't really think of myself as becoming a face yoga method teacher. I was really doing it for my own knowledge, because I love to learn new things. And I thought maybe I'd use it a little bit here and there with, you know, with some of my wheelchair friends. But I never realized that I would do as much of it as I'm doing and want to do. I teach through the Spinal Cord Injury Association, and I integrate face yoga into my other teaching. For example, I teach an accessible yoga course for independent living groups. And when I'm doing chair yoga or accessible yoga, I always add in exercises, the face, and tell them we're doing face yoga along with their regular yoga. And with my ballet and modern dance students, I always have them working their facial muscles, because they tend to get, especially ballet dancers, they tend to get very serious. So they're dancing and they're like looking at their bodies and they're doing this in the mirror. It's like, when you get on stage, what you practice is what you perform. So you need to practice in class working your facial muscles so you don't look all scrunched up and unhappy. So we actually practice some facial exercises and face yoga while they're doing ballet. My goal is to make my website more accessible to more people and do more face yoga method as I begin to fade out some of the things that require more physicality out of my body. Everything I do is, in a way, teaching and caregiving. Because when you teach, you have to give care. You have to be loving and kind and supportive. When I'm a peer mentor, I'm being a caregiver. I have to be kind and loving and supportive. When I teach face yoga, when I teach ballet, everything I do comes under that one umbrella of teacher, motivator, guide. And so I think that there is nothing that brings me more joy or more satisfaction than to see somebody go, I got it. Or, oh, that feels great. That is really what sums it up. And that's what makes what I do on every level satisfying. In life, when you meet people who give of themselves so freely and so fully, it's easy to want to follow them. And I use the word follow loosely. Social media, we follow. Sometimes that word follow takes on a religious meaning or a political meaning, and I don't mean it in those terms, but I mean, you want to know what those people know. You want to feel what those people feel. And without a doubt, Fumiko gives so much of herself to this community and to anyone who is willing to open their eyes, open their minds, open their hearts, that you will only feel like you're being lifted up as she lifts herself up and gives. And I think we're very blessed, lucky, whatever word you want to use, to have someone like Fumiko in our lives.